You're completely right. Everyone I have studied is super successful, have so many failures. Like one of the guys on my mastermind has lost so much money and we're talking 6 figures that scare the crap out of me.
Yep.
And he's fine. But then I look at it every time he's done this, I'm like, oh, whoa. He's made even more money the next time, even more. And it looks like the drop in the bucket.
Welcome to Burning the Ships podcast, and I'm your host, Jason Seward. And today I've got Adrian Smude. How you doing, Adrian?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm excited about this conversation.
Yeah, I am too, man. And I'll kind of set things up with how you and I met. We were both at the Dealmaker conference in Richmond back in March, so a couple months ago. And I kind of knew of you. I think we had already connected on social media and stuff, but we had never had a conversation. And I think it was maybe on a break or something, you and I kind of huddled up over a table outside and talked for about 30 minutes. And just hearing your story kind of at a high level and the way you spoke with so much passion and energy, I was like, all right, we're getting you on the podcast. So I'm glad that we've been able to coordinate that, and you took the time to do it, and I appreciate you for that. So
you're welcome.
Yeah. So what I want to do to get this kicked off is I'm just going to turn it over to you, Adrian, and this is going to be good for me because, like I mentioned, when you and I talk, I just got the high level version, just enough to tease me and realize like I want to know more about this guy. So share with me and the audience your story, kind of your bio and stuff like that, and then we'll have a conversation from there.
All right. So I started, really my entrepreneur journey as a kid. I grew up in the middle of a business. Like my parents had 2.5 acres and we lived in the center. It was a garden center, grew plants, and then it grew into selling some statuary, wrought iron. And that was since 2 years old, actually. 2 or 4, I don't remember. I don't remember what my parents tell me. How about that? Because of course I learned at 8. So
where was that?
Oh, Plant City, Florida.
Okay, got it.
That's it. And most of my family members are entrepreneurs in some way. So then, you kind of like knew it, that was going to be what I was going to do. I grew up, I kind of go to college. I mean, kind of like I didn't really attend. I just paid the money. Well, and I moved into a rental with some friends. We're all renting out the different rooms in it. So this is over 20 years ago, before the house hacking was actually a thing. And we get evicted multiple times because of parties. So I know there's some real estate investors listening here. You don't want 20-year-old Adrian and his friends as your tenants, because we had spaghetti wrestling parties, pudding wrestling parties, mud wrestling parties, and most of these are in the house. Yeah. So needless to say, we get evicted a lot, and I got tired of that, so I bought a house so I couldn't get evicted anymore. And then I learned that we sucked as tenants and had to stop my friends from all these parties. But I lived for free. That was the big thing about it. I live for free. I charge my friends the rent, or my mortgage is split up. So I bought another house a few years later. Well, a few years later, it happened to be when all the adjustable rate mortgages were going on. You couldn't afford the mortgage, so I was actually paying a few $100s extra a month after renting out that second house. But the plan that the mortgage broker told me is, don't worry, real estate goes straight up. You'll refinance in a few years. I bet you I bought at the top. Yeah. And then as it went down, that adjustable rate mortgage, I went to losing a little bit more every month, and I sold it just about the bottom. So I did exactly what opposite of what we want to do, a 48-something% loss.
What year are we talking here? Just so I can kind of keep with the timeline.
Yeah, I am bad with years. So it was the top was around 05, I think, 06, and then the bottom was like 7, 8. Numbers aren't my best thing. I'm a little dyslexic, so and I forget numbers.
You're talking to someone just like you, so you're good.
Well, you're right. Maybe I should have.
Exactly right.
So let me speed this up a little bit. I ended up not losing that first house because I was living for free. I mean, I was eating on $5 a day of food, tuna, and the Lipton noodle packets. And eventually, I got back into real estate. I can't tell you exactly why I didn't give up. Probably because I was living for free. So I bought some more houses, and then I switched over to the mobile homes. I listened to the wise silver-haired, no-haired investors in the back of the real estate group meetings, and they had all talked about mobile homes at some point. So I said, well, all right, they've been doing this as long as I've been alive. Now, since then, I only buy mobile homes with the land. So homeland, not the mobile home park, not the unit within there. Central Florida, I buy them and rent them out long term. Yeah, I do some other things with some lending on houses and triplexes around the country, but my active business has been primarily mobile homes for the last decade.
Got it. So I'm gonna go back a little bit as you kind of went through that. What you said you bought your first house like in college.
At
Did
20
you?
years old,
Yeah. Did you? Was there a mentor that kind of steered you that way, or was it just kind of dumb luck? Like I'm not a good renter, so let me go find something I can buy. And like, how much did you have to put down? Like, how did you transact on that at 20 years old with not much knowledge around it?
a little bit of both. I was ignorant enough to not ask a million questions so I could actually take action and not get stuck.
Yeah.
Which is one reason I'm so passionate about that now. Like, I feel like it's around that 60% of knowledge. Got to do something, because once you get to that 80th, you'll never do anything because you know everything can go wrong. But the help I did have was I had a family member that was a mortgage broker, and he was renting out in a college area by the room, a few houses. So he's the one that kind of pushed me that direction.
Okay.
And it cost me $1,500 out of pocket to buy this house. So we wrapped up everything into the closing costs.
Yeah.
And, you couldn't even rent a house for that as your deposit. I don't know how I knew everything. My dad still tells me today, because he went with me to closing and they owned a house. And he's like, you knew everything. I couldn't help you. And I don't remember it being that way, but he talks about how proud he was. And I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'm good a question asker anyways. So I'm curious. And maybe that's how I knew what I was doing.
Yep. So I want to come back to the point you made a second ago, like you believe learn 60% and then take action. So I'm gonna come back to that because we can go down a tangent there right now. So I want to stay on kind of the timeline and then we'll get to those things. So you bought that, you get the second house. Obviously that didn't go as projected. But then did you finish college?
No. Well,
Okay.
I did technically get my AA, that 2-year degree. It took me
Yeah.
4 years. And then I
Okay.
paid them for another 4 years of
I love that.
I never took more than a 200 level class. So I took 4 more years at 200 level.
Right.
And then I stopped.
Hey, it's hard to walk away from the spaghetti and pudding parties, man. So yeah, hang out in that environment as long as you can.
One reason I wasn't stopping paying, I had a decent job, but I knew if I stopped, I would never go back. So I was like, I got to keep at least one class. And then I finally this isn't for me. Like,
Yeah.
some people need college and some people don't.
Right. All right. So what you said kind of you were listening to the older folks, the more experienced folks in the room, but you had to get into those rooms. So what inspired you to, like, as you were working through some things, you're still in your early 20s, to start going to the rooms, or did somebody kind of grab you and invited you to the rooms? How did that all transpire?
Yeah, it took me about 10 years to finally get in a room. And I was on my way to a meetup, and for the life of me, I cannot figure out what that meetup was. It was not real estate. But on my way there, it got canceled. I got a message. And I decided to go to this one that I thought was super annoying. This girl I knew from high school just kept inviting me at a Facebook meetup
Mhm.
to this meetup. And I was annoyed with she kept inviting me. And I went to that, and it was a RIA meeting.
Yeah.
And I just got hooked. I mean, I was going to 4 to 8 a week everywhere. And I just love the networking, the information, the education. I was driving up to 2 hours to get into these different rooms.
Were you, I know who you are now from a social standpoint, but back then was that, and the reason I want to ask this question is because we host a meetup here in Hampton Roads, Virginia, and I go to a lot of meetups. But all the years that I've done that, I'm just now starting to recognize that most people in these rooms it draws a lot of energy out of them. Like they're not naturally comfortable in those rooms. For whatever reason, I don't know why, it energizes me to go to these things. So which group do you fall in, or did you fall in at that age?
I was super scared and
Okay.
super shy. Yeah, I would have never gotten on something like this.
Right.
That's even on this. There's only you here, but I would like somebody else going to listen to it.
Yep.
No, I was the one that didn't want to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
And I didn't have my yellow shirt at the time, but I did learn pretty quick to wear something different so you would come to me. So if I went to a meetup that was a little bit more, we'll say upscale, a lot of people were wearing a college shirt and business attire, I would wear a Ninja Turtle shirt because I genuinely like Ninja Turtles. My mom still gets me shirts for my birthdays in my 40s.
I love it.
And then if I went to a, more of a, well, I just call it a redneck because that's where I'm from. Is I have rednecks and paint stains all over your pants and stuff. I'd wear more of a collared shirt because I want to stand out. Because really, what I was looking for pretty quick, I learned I want you to come talk to me because I'm too scared to come talk to you.
I love that. What was that intuitive to you, or did somebody give you that advice?
I don't know exactly where I got it from. Something I have been good at is I throw mud at the wall and whatever starts sticking, I do it.
Yeah.
So maybe I heard it somewhere, but is in my subconscious mind. I always liked being different. I mean, if you met my dad, you know where it came from. He's different. And, it's just like that is a part of my personality. Now I've dissected so much of it. The Ninja Turtle shirt is on purpose because I actually can talk about Ninja Turtles. You put me in a cat shirt, I can't really talk about cats that long. Right. If I did love cats, there's so many people, they would come to me, so we'd have a connection already.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's something like that is what I believe you need to do. I can go on this topic for forever. I am a little bit more on the introverted side. So I have to do something to make sure I'm charged up before the meeting. And most of these meetings are at night. So for me, it's a nap. If I'm driving there, I get there early and I take a 10, 15-minute nap in my car. Maybe I have to listen to something, some comedy or something pump up, some David Goggins or something to get my mindset right go in there. Because if I'm really tired, I'm not going to talk to anyone. And I'm just going to be like that little guy in the corner.
Yep. I have the problem with these meetups. This is a me problem, but when I go into those rooms, it literally is. I've never done cocaine, but it's like a shot of cocaine or heroin. I mean, I get so jacked up that I almost get lost in those moments sometimes, right? And I can catch myself sometimes talking super fast in conversation, and it's just because I'm excited, So I've got to fight to kind of suppress that, and where for like what you just described, you have to figure out ways to energize yourself and get prepped for this.
Yeah.
I have to figure out ways to decompress after because I am so wired. And once I'm done, it's like I crash. I just hit a brick wall,
And during the meeting, if you're that wired and you have someone probably a little bit more introverted than me,
I'm too much.
You're going to scare them away.
Yep.
So, and we both have to kind of move because if I'm super quiet, you're going to get bored talking to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've gotten that feedback, and over the years, I've learned, just like you've learned to manage it. Like now you see me at an event, it's fine. Like I just look like everybody else and I'm talking like everybody else. But early on, people would say, man, when I first met you, I had to stand away a little bit. Like you were a little bit too much. And I get that, so but it's funny. All of that, even though you and I have different approaches or like natural tendencies when it comes to these things, nobody does it the right way. Like nobody goes into these events the perfect way. So, and you said you could talk about it. I'd love to hear you elaborate a little bit more kind of around that.
Yeah. I have learned now for me, because I study myself a lot, is it really depends on the size of the room. Because I'm more like you if the room is 10, 15, 20, maybe 30. But we get to Dealmakers, it's 150, 200, 250 people. I'm like a little standoffish. Like that was the
same way.
It was very
similar.
Yeah. We're Dealmakers back. I had to do a lot of work and get my alone time in the morning. And afterwards, I was telling my girlfriend, I'm like, I can't believe how tired I am.
Yep. So like at the bigger events, there's 300 plus people there. I've struggled getting focused on conversations, right? Because there's so many, but like you and I, we were in a kind of like a side room outside of the big group, and I was able to lock in for 30 minutes with you, and I walked away like, man, that's energizing. I love that. But when I walk back into the big room, it's kind of the ADHD thing. Like I'm everything. I want to go talk to everybody, you know? So,
Maybe that I never thought of it as being an ADHD thing because I know I have at least a little bit ADHD.
right. I've got all of it. So, but all right, cool, man. So, let's go. And I don't want to spend too much, like go too much into real estate, but I am curious, what got you into the mobile home space? Was it because those were cheaper properties to buy? And then and then you saw the profits on the back end, or was it something else that steered you that way?
I was struggling finding deals at the time, which in hindsight is silly, but knowing what I know now,
Yeah.
my coach at the time, really was questioning me. What do I really want? And it came up to cash flow. He's like, if you only have one thing, it was cash flow is what I decided I really wanted because that's what I could eat every day on. And I happened about the same time to buy a mobile home because I was very frustrated with not finding deals, and the cash flow was better. So he's like, well, can you find more of these? And I did. And he's like, this could be your thing. This is solving the problem you want with the least amount of properties. Yes, the price is cheaper, but it really came down to the return on my investment. And
All right.
I had that solid goal that was very niche, and that got me there the fastest.
Okay. All right. Two things there. You mentioned your coach. So clearly, early in your journey, you had a belief that it's important to have a mentor or coach. So, um, have you kept that mindset all the way through? Have you always had a coach or some type of mentor to bounce things off of?
So very early, no, I thought I could do it all myself, and my ego was super high. And 10 years ago now is whenever I got hired my first coach, and I was scared. I didn't tell anyone about it because, if it was wrong, I didn't want anyone to know I was making this mistake. And it's been the best thing. I still have same coach. I've hired multiple other coaches. I've had a finance coach, which some people will call it fractional CFO, but I really called him a coach, a relationship coach, a business, a life. So I am very bought in. When I wrote my book, I hired a coach because I already believed in the coaching system. I'm like, I just have to find the right coach.
Yeah.
And I can relax and just do my little homework, wait for my coach to tell me the next thing to do.
Man, and this is timely for me because I've always believed in coaches, all the way back to like youth sports. Like just coaches to me are my heroes, and so every area of my life, I've always brought in coaches, um, except the personal areas, right? So I would bring in business coaches, or I'd hire people, or we would join. I'll say we, my business partner and I would join these big mastermind groups and spend a lot of money to do it, and we'd find coaches and mentors within them. But it wasn't until the last few years, like I hired a health and fitness coach, right? I knew, like, I'm obsessed with health and fitness. So I always had this mindset, well, I know what I'm doing, I can figure it out. But I hadn't gone so far to really understand like how to understand my lab work and how to tweak some things within that. So I hired a coach. Profound results, like meaning somebody that could hold me accountable to the thing I love doing, which is exercise and trying to keep in shape. But I did that. My wife and I, we've been married, but it'll be 17 years this month. We have a fantastic marriage, but we have a relationship coach, right? To help. Why not hire, like Michael Jordan was the best basketball player ever. He had coaches aside from his normal coaches to help him keep improving. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm so glad you said Michael Jordan. That's actually the line that got me over to hire a coach. It was listening to a podcast, and the guy said, why do you think you're better than Michael Jordan that has multiple coaches?
Right.
And I'm not the biggest basketball fan, but I respect him, man. I was like, ooh, that one kind of stings. Like, I think I'm better than that guy. And that's what got me over it. Yes, I think that I want to go back to the relationship coach. I believe the reason you'll have an even longer, amazing, beautiful marriage is because you decided to continue working on it.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I've hired a relationship coach, and I still have Kathy today. I've turned her on multiple friends, and some of them beautiful marriages. And they said,
Yeah.
we didn't think it could be even better.
Yeah.
They would talk even better to each other and communicate.
Well, it's like we've been almost 20 years and we're in our third we met in our early 20s. We lived most of our 20s, all of our 30s, and half of our 40s together. Each decade, we are different human beings, right? So it takes an outside perspective sometimes and some advice and accountability to say, hey, you guys need tools to learn to continue to love each other over and over again. And that's been pretty, in which we love each other dearly, but we I'm not the same person I was when I met her at 24 years old. It's just not the same. So,
Yeah. And my relationship coach is obviously the relationship with a spouse, but it's also
yeah,
my parents, my brother,
yeah,
friends,
yep,
you, a
yep,
seller, any business thing. That communication relationship is almost the same all the way across.
yeah,
But we always think of it in one of the most important is our family and spouse and kids.
right. Excellent. So, I'm going to keep asking questions where I know if we just didn't have a time constraint, we'd go on for an hour for each topic. So, I'm going to segue now to my second question behind the coach question. You mentioned that your coach advised you to find the one thing basically that you want to focus on. Um, you found the mobile homes, but did all of your energy, was it tunnel vision at that point? I'm going to block out everything else. I'm not going to go flip houses. I'm not going to go syndicate apartments. I'm just going to focus on mobile homes. Was that it?
Yes, completely.
Yeah.
I didn't, like I said, flip. I understood about wrap loans, which I had wanted to do for a longest time. And I even had friends that I connected, and the lender was like, "Why didn't you just like pull yourself into that deal?" I'm like, I had to be focused, or it wouldn't have worked. And yeah, I've gotten all kinds of deals now that I have that business set and kind of was in a repeat cycle. I have a office manager that's helping out with majority of it. Now I can move over and do other businesses and do other things.
Yeah.
But I strongly believe, at least my personality, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't get super focused. Like I think of the horse blinders on
Yeah.
and that would keep my guardrails. That's one reason I stay in mastermind groups is their job is to keep my guardrails on and say, Adrian, is this a shiny object? Like, is this really what you want? Is this going to be
Yep.
your vision?
Dude, I love the horse blinder analogy because one of my favorite like motivational, it's just a quick video clip, but do you know who Jimmy Iovine is? He's a big music producer. Like he produced like some of Eminem's records and all music genres, but he's a big name in music. But it's a clip of him talking about you just got to put the blinders on, and horses do that because they're not looking left or right. They're on their own journey, running their own race. And I love that analogy because we talked about ADHD earlier. I'm the worst. I like everything to me looks good. I want to chase it. I can't change that about my brain, but what I have to do is insulate myself with people in my life and in my own business, like through business partners that aren't that way. And so I can use my ADHD as a superpower.
Yes.
And think about all these things, and then they can help me weed through them and say, all right, we just need to lock in on this for now. And that's kind of how I've handled that that's my form of blinders is putting a wife that's not that way and a business partner not that way, and they keep me focused.
Yeah, that's the who not how concept a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
That reminds me of the first speaker, the Dealmakers, Allie. One of the first things she had said was, I'm going to mess up the quote a little bit. There was entrepreneurs are wonderful action takers because we try to take action on every thought we have, every shiny object. We actually need to take less action, but more on one thing. It was just a weird way of saying it. I was like, oh yeah, she's right. Because so many people get stuck on taking action. And we love starting things. We just aren't always the best at finishing them.
That's it. It's exactly right. It's fun to start stuff new.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so exciting to fix things you might have started and like might be leaks in the bucket, So
the success is in the mundane of everyday things that has to get done. If either you do it or, like you just said, we hire them out or bring the right partner in or something. But those things have to get done. That's the 1% compounding, not just the big shiny start and the fun stuff.
Absolutely. So we'll kind of get out of the real estate stuff because you've been in that space. It sounds like for a while now. You've built up a good good, well operating machine, it sounds like, in the mobile home space. And then now that's allowed you to get into some other stuff. But I want to go back to something you talked about earlier, about you think folks should get 60% educated and then take action. Elaborate on that. I agree with you 100%, but I want to hear your perspectives on that.
Yeah, so I've actually questioned a lot of successful people, their thoughts on it. And I used to be up at the 70, 75%, and I keep dropping it. And now it's around the 60. I don't know if 50 is the right number. This does change for everyone. And a engineer is going to want a little bit more than probably you. And so it's because in my belief that if we know everything, which there's no way you can ever know everything, but if you know everything that can go wrong. And you're always going to talk yourself out of doing whatever it is. If it's a business item, if it's running a marathon, whatever it is. I'll give you a great example. Last night, my girlfriend's dad texted me if I want to do a run on, I think he just said something, we're going running next Monday on Memorial Day. Do you want to go? And I said, sure. He's been inviting me a lot. I'm not the biggest runner. He is. And he said, it'll be a slower one. It'll be good for you. So I just said, sure. And then I find out it's a paid one. So I said, sure. And then I find out it's a 10K.
Right.
I run them 1 mile every once in a while.
Yeah. Right.
If he would have told me 10K, I'd probably be like, no, call me the next time. But, so if I would have known everything, now I'm like, all right, I got to do it.
Yeah.
So
I love that example, man. And I couldn't agree more. I'm probably, I have lived all of my adult life with the mindset of ready, fire, aim.
Yes.
Like, pull the trigger and then we'll figure out what it's going to hit, and that, yes, that has gotten, I've probably had more failures than most in trying things, but because of that mindset, I have gotten into things like 10 years ago, I would have never thought that my primary business would be lending on real estate. Like I was an operator. I was the one borrowing the money, not the one lending the money. It wasn't even on my radar, but because when I get an idea and it's I understand it and I can wrap my head around it and I can see a vision, I just go. I don't think anymore. I just go. Sometimes it fails, but I wouldn't have gotten into that if I didn't have that mindset. So I'm okay being that way. And I'm probably more of a 30%er. Like and then go and I'll put the resources around me to make sure I don't mess up. So.
And see, I used to be needing to know everything. I'm not like the engineer, but my side way more over there. I used to have little images for the shoot, fire, aim, because they're scared so much that I need that reminder on my monitor every day.
Yeah,
you're completely right. Everyone I have studied is super successful have so many failures. Like one of the guys on my mastermind has lost so much money and we're talking 6 figures that scare the crap out of me.
Yep.
And he's fine. But then I look at it every time he's done this, I'm like, oh, whoa, he's made even more money the next time, even more. And it looks like the drop in the bucket.
Right.
So it's proof to me that it's a good model as long as you have the right coaches or people to go talk to, business partners. You can't go willy-nilly do it.
Exactly. And I am much more when, now that some of the stuff we do involves investor capital, so it's not all my capital. I am not that way at all. Like it's I'm going to aim. Because I'm protecting somebody else's money, but when it's just my stuff, like it's go. We're going. Or like decisions within the business. Let's not think about it. Let's throw it out there. We'll figure it out. Yeah.
A great point. How do you clarify that for the listeners? Because I do agree with you. It's different if you're just starting something and trying to figure out if it's going to work. But when you're putting someone else's livelihood, or even if you're doing it on your own, but it's your entire family and your family might sleep under a bridge, that's a little different. But if you're early 20s, no kids, no family or anything, you can take a lot more risk because that bridge is that terrible then.
During any part of this journey, was there the temptation of, because obviously it hadn't all been sunshine and rainbows. So was there the temptation to say, okay, I've got all these skill sets, let me just go apply them to a W-2 career? Or has it always been entrepreneur all the time?
Oh, for sure. I've thought that. I've even thought it recently.
Yeah.
Which is even crazy for me to think. I'm like, man, sometimes just like not getting a late night message, or we had a police call me at 2 a.m. one night. I don't know why I was up and I saw it. I was like, God, if my office manager doesn't have to deal with that stuff, it would be nice.
Right.
Again, I flip over. I'm like, okay, I get to do stuff at the times I want. I turned my phone off for 5.5 days a few weeks ago. I didn't have to ask anyone. So like that gives me that freedom, and I get to build it the way I like it. And I do think I'm helping more people than working a W-2, which people work a W-2 and serve in their own way. It's too constricting for my personality.
Yep. Yeah.
My last W-2 was at the YMCA. I liked it. I worked on the fitness floor. The study while I was there about fitness, and I really enjoyed it. But I knew where I was going to be every Tuesday and Thursday for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Constrained.
Way, man. My background is I worked a W-2 career up until 4 years ago now. While I was building the stuff on the side with real estate, but the entire career, I was feeling this pull of like, this is not where I'm supposed to be. And I was in sales, insurance sales. So I did have it. I was able to approach it as an entrepreneur, and I kind of had more control of my time. So that kept me stuck to it probably, and the income obviously. But once I broke away, dude, you talk about living under a bridge. I will live under a bridge before I go back and work for someone. I just cannot do it anymore,
And I think that's one of the differences for people. If you're not willing to do that, entrepreneur may not be for you, because there are some down times. There are some rough times, like I've got to pay my team before myself. Like I have to pay them. There was some friction on my team not too long ago, and I had to explain. I'm like, I have to look at this a different way. I have to look at protecting the business as a whole. Yeah, I love what you wanted to do, and I agree with you, but I have to look at protecting the business, because if I don't protect the business, I may not get paid. You may not get paid. No one else. Like everything can go down, and I'm the one who has to make those crappy decisions. They're not easy.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's good stuff. You talked about teams. This just looking at the yellow and the shirt and everything. This made me think of. Are you familiar with the Savannah Bananas?
Yes, I love that calling him.
Yeah, so he's amazing. But if you don't do anything else after this, go get his book called Fans First, and it will. I read it. We took our kids to a game, and I saw the book. I was like, all right, I'll read that. Completely changed. I mean, this was just a year and a half ago. How I approach building my team, handling my customers, handling investors, everything about it. He takes his story of building that empire, what it is now, and applies it to, I thought it was a baseball book. It's not, it applies it to business and life. So one of the best books I've ever read in my life.
Well, it's on my list. And now it's going to get moved up on my list. I didn't know that. It was about.
Once I read it, I actually reached out to Jim Ingersoll. I was like, "You've got to read this book," and he read it. He was like, "Man, this is the best thing I've ever read." It's really good.
What you're describing, that fits him too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you talked about your mastermind group. Talk a little bit about that, because I know you kind of teach all these things and these mindset nuggets and the real estate side. But what are you doing with that?
Yeah, my mastermind is real estate based, business based, but we definitely, during the interviews, we talk to people. We say, hey, if we feel or see something that is a mindset or a personal thing, we're going to poke at it. You put the wall up and say you're not coming in, we'll respect it. But we definitely believe, and I've seen this for my decade of being in different groups, is if your mindset's not right, your home life is not right, your business will never be right.
Yep.
A lot of times, I think this is a common thing for entrepreneurs, is we make up for the unhappy home life and business, and that's why we run and build all this stuff, because we're actually running away from what's most important, what we say we're doing it for, and putting the air quotes up there. So we do go into that. It's more like a board of advisors. So we keep it pretty intimate, 8, 12 people in the room, and it's not just like, hey, come once. No, we're there, and we meet every month on Zoom. We meet in person twice a year, because I know Jason a little bit better now. We've talked some, but if we were together every month and then we're together for days, I'm really going to get to know you, and I'm going to be able to call your BS quicker. and say, hey, well, you said this 3 years ago. I think all different masterminds serve their own roles, but that's the style I like the most. That's been the most beneficial is, we can deeply pour in really knowing each other. And so it's been a lot of fun. It's wild to me. We're talking about mindset a lot. Like I never thought I would be running a mastermind, much less some of the guys and girls that are in it. Like they helped me in my growth time. They kind of coached me, and now they're in my group is mind-blowing about, am I enough that a lot of us struggle with? Like that has come across every time. I'm just like, this is amazing. What?
Kind of that, I'm sure you've dealt with this, maybe still do with that imposter syndrome. Like, why am I doing this? Am I supposed to be doing this? But you are. Like people have paid the money to be in it, and now you've got a value to give them, and you do give them that, I'm certain. So
Yeah, and so we even started a second group, and at the end of the first group, I just sat out there for like 10 minutes before we did our wrap up and just staring at the mountains and gratitude. And I went to everyone, I'm like, if y'all didn't join this and stay in and be successful, all of these new people wouldn't be in a group because they're watching us. You believed in us to run it and to grow it. And look at that ripple effect. It's not just their lives that are changing. It's all these other people that are now joining a group and their lives are going to change. And then that ripple just continues. I always like to think of things in a ripple effect of we think we're only doing it for us, but it's all these people that are watching or all these other lives that get to hear, like we're talking right now. Every listener is going to hopefully go take something from this and go improve their life and think of all their people that it's improved. So that just warms me up when I hear stuff like that.
yeah, I couldn't agree more. I've shared this for the audiences. They've heard it dozens of times on this podcast. I'm gonna share it again because it's in line with what you're saying. But when we started in the lending space, I mean, I knew I needed a coach, a mentor. So we connected with one of the best in the industry that is doing what we were building, which is a real estate debt fund. And I'll call her out again. It's Kelly Garrett with Rehab Wallet out of Charleston, South Carolina. They have a ginormous debt fund. So we connected with her, became good friends, and she agreed to basically help to be our consultant for the first year that we launched our business. So I've got one of the top CEOs in the industry sitting here meeting with us twice a week at first on Zoom calls to help us build what we were building. And I asked her early on because she lends in the same states we do. I said, Kelly, I'm just curious. You don't need to do this. Like, we're barely paying you anything. Like, you don't need this money. Why are you spending all this time to build a competitor? It's like you're building a business that's going to compete with you. And her response, I get goosebumps every time I say it. She said, there's enough sunshine for all of us. You taking some sunshine is not taking it away from me. And she said, if I help you, I know that you're going to go over the course of the next 30 years, help 5, 10, 15 more people. Each one of them, the ripple effect, is going to help 5, 10, 15 more people. And that's my legacy. And that was her approach. And it just, like, I think I would have evolved to that at some point. I wasn't there yet, but ever since then, I'm like, let's go. Let's spread this thing out as much as we can go. So
I absolutely love that. It reminds me of the Zig Ziglar quote. If you help enough people get what they want, you will get what you want.
Yeah.
And anytime I'm like, it still comes out that, hold something close to my chest, whatever. And I just have that Zig Ziglar quote. I mean, nope, you have to give it away. So that, and you will get, what you want later, and you just help. That's how I approach filters all the time.
Right.
I'm like, I'm just here to help you. I may or may not be the solution. They're like, well, why would you do that? I'm like, because I just want to help. And then obviously I will be a solution if I help enough people.
Right. And most people don't know how to handle that. Like I couldn't comprehend why is she doing this? Why is she like she's literally giving us the detailed playbook of what they do and letting us build something just like it. Why are you doing this? And then her answer just completely shifted my mindset. And I loved it,
So that circled all the way back for me to that family member that was a mortgage broker, the one that helped me get some of the best advice. Some of the best he did was help me get that house. But then the best advice he gave me is he said, at some point, money is no longer a challenge for people and they want to help and give back. He's like, if you can find those people, you're going to do really well. And I have found lots of those people, and then how good that feels has made me want to be that person for other people as well.
I love that,
Like, you
man.
don't understand it until you get there. Like I kind of understood it and I was benefiting from it, but until I helped other people, I didn't understand how it feels.
Yeah.
Everyone is at a level that they can help someone else that's just a half a step behind them.
Right. And I'm not sure what all you're doing in the mindset when it comes to real estate, but I would imagine there are wins pretty regularly where people come to you and say, "Hey, I got this under contract," or "I made," and I have to imagine, not just talking to you, you get more adrenaline from that than you do landing your next deal. You're so
Sure.
right.
For sure.
I mean, that's
more
great.
I have students doing way more bigger deals than I'm doing. And I'm like, I gotta be more like you.
Yeah, right. So I got a couple more things I want to hit on before we start wrapping it up. I know health and fitness is a big part of your life. So, has it always been? If or if not, why is it such a big part? Is it aesthetics of it, or do you want to have a long health span, lifespan, all of that? So, kind of talk about why it's so important to you.
Yeah, it was mid high school is whenever it became important. I joined the football team. I never actually played. It was one of the only things I've ever quit in my life, but that got me working out. And yes, since then, so that got me from where I was too ashamed to take my shirt off at the beach and boobs. And, my mom would never tell you this because she thinks I'm perfect. But
Right.
a little bit at the beginning was aesthetics. I just wanted to feel confident. And now I want to not only live a long life, I want to enjoy that life I live. I don't want to be in a wheelchair or something because I didn't take care of my body. And so, yes, I'm very big into yoga. I'm going to be going after our call. I go at least once a day. I use yoga as a fitness, but also as a mindset meditation. And I love the middle of the day ones the best for me because I get 2 days. I get all the way up to it. And then when I come out of yoga, I'm so clean in my brain and I just feel so good. And I have a whole second day to go and do what I need. I've had people say, well, you spend so much time at yoga, you get other things done. I'm like, no, yoga is why I can get so many other things done. And so yoga is just my thing. If it's running, fitness, the gym, I still go and lift heavy stuff sometimes, but my body right now seems to enjoy yoga the most. I've done bodybuilding shows. I've done all different carnivore, keto, vegetarian. I've tried all different things out, and I'm finding what works for my body, and it keeps changing. I went to India on a yoga retreat and did some diet stuff. It's fun for me. And I know that's not for everyone. You and I could probably talk about this for 3 weeks. But it's Jim Rohn says, you only have one body to live in. You got to take care of it. I'm messing up his quote a little bit. But that's it. Like, why get retired and have a ton of money if you can't go do anything? Or, like, your body just doesn't allow you. Why even make the money? Why get retired?
I couldn't agree more, man. It's a big passion of mine as well. And like, I obsess over it. I've gotten to a point now where like most of the stuff I consume as far as podcasts and books and stuff it's very little business stuff anymore. I mean, some of that gets sprinkled in, but it's mostly health and fitness and nutrition. And can't say I understand it all, but I usually get enough nuggets and I'm one that I get bored very fast. So I'm usually good for about 3 to 6 months with a steady routine. And then it's like, all right, I'm gonna shake it all up and I'm gonna go this route now. And then but I'm okay with that because it's okay. But to your last point you made about, like, it's not about lifespan. I'd love to live to 100 years old, but if from 75 to 100, I can't go hiking, or I can't play with my grandkids, like what, that's not like I have this vision of me and my wife being in our 70s, taking our kids and their kids out to where you're at, out west, on these couple week hiking trips during the summer and stuff like that. Well, I can't do that if physically I can't do that, so that's a big motivator for me.
Same here. So I plan to live to 120 and love it. Completely fine to like fall over dead the next day or 124. I don't want to limit myself. That's how much I am in the mindset. Is like, if I just say 120, that means that's the day. I was hiking the Appalachian Trail with some buddies a few years ago, and we're on the trail, multiple days in, and my buddy that's in his 60s he's behind us, so he's telling me the story later. A 80-year-old guy is doing there and backs on the trail, so he's camping out, not on the trail, and he passes him. They talk for a little bit. He goes another few miles and comes back and passes him before he gets to the trail exit. And he talks about it all the time. Like, he just can't believe that's what happened. But that guy has conditioned his body. He's able to go and do that at 80 years old. And I want to be able to do that, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got one of our attorneys is 86, and we met with him last week because we're looking at doing some stuff with him. And he's I mean, he has a huge real estate portfolio, but he was talking about he's a member of a big country club over here, and he still walks 18 holes of golf like 5 days a week. He's 86. He's like, all my buddies are either dying or they can't walk with me anymore. He said, I can get down and do 50 push-ups right now. And it's because he's kept his body moving. He refuses to give up, So
I'd say one more last thing on this topic. I believe that, let's say the lending space is a big space. Like, someone's going to go and invest in you. Well, subconsciously, how you take care of your body is going to portray to me how you take care of your business. If you're not willing to take care of your body at all, like, you're not proving that you can take care of something.
Yep.
I'm a very big believer of that. So the people that maybe aren't as passionate as you and I, and they just want the business side of it, just try it out for the business side. They'll end up getting it. We know that.
Well, that and I want to, because I have said that before, and I've been corrected by my wife, which my wife's fit as well, but that, like, folks that are not fit and as passionate about these things that we are don't handle maybe that thought, that mindset. And I have it, but so it's not an absolute statement what you just said, because I know plenty of people that may not have the best health, but their integrity and their business minds are excellent. So it's not an absolute statement, but in general, in like first impressions, when I see a fit person, I know they have some type of discipline. Like, they're honest with themselves. They show up. They might be an absolute crook when I get to know them, but at least first look, there is some discipline in their life. And that's I want people to view me that way, so.
And that's a good impression. And that's your correction. And you're, as normal, women are usually pretty good at pointing that out.
Oh, yeah.
No, thank you. Because I should probably be careful how I word it too.
No, but I share the same mindset. Which definitely, yeah.
There are other people that can still be successful and have high integrity. And you're right. I know some of them too.
Yeah. And for us, like, I've always been active. You've always been active. Some people that flip doesn't switch until they might be in their 40s or 50s. So they got to think of Jelly Roll. Yeah, are you familiar with Jelly Roll?
Yeah.
He's lost 300 pounds in his 40s, and he's, apparently he's doing it the right way and all that. But like, things can change at any point. And now you look at him, if you never knew him, you'd say, man, he's got a little bit of weight to lose, not knowing that he just lost 300 pounds. That's a disciplined dude, So, yeah.
Yeah, he's way more disciplined than me.
Right.
Right. All I have to do is little habits every day to keep it off. He had to do a lot to even lose it.
Yeah. So let's go ahead. Before we let you go, I want you to talk about, you mentioned you got your book, your mastermind, which you talked a little bit about. You do some coaching as well, or you got some mindset courses, I believe. So talk about any of that stuff you want. And obviously we're going to put all the links in the show notes for people to learn more.
Yeah, I'm on I should say most of the social medias. I don't know. I'm active on Facebook, Instagram, and my team helps me be active on some of the other ones.
There you go.
And something comes up. So you can just search for me, Adrian Smude, or Lifestyle REI. Yeah, I've got a book on mobile homes. There is some mindset in here. I didn't really read it that way, but one of my elementary school teachers, she's like, that's more of a mindset book. Am I really? Because I just tell my story is what it is. It's how to buy mobile homes, but through my story. That's how I teach, is through storytelling more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do have a mindset course because I can talk about that more than real estate. I don't have a link prepared or anything. What if you I don't do this often, so maybe I'm going to get myself in trouble with it. I'll just give you my number, and don't call me, text me. And you have to tell me you're from the show, so I don't think you're spam.
Let's do this, Adrian. Let's do this because I've had somebody share their number on here before and it did not go well. So
Okay.
it was a lot. So let's do this. I'm gonna share your social media links.
Huh?
Um,
You can
so what? And we'll encourage folks to go through those links and send you a direct message. Is that cool?
me a direct message. Remind me you're from Burning the Ships, and I have like the first lesson I'll just give you for free of my mindset course. Because I like to give something, not just say, "Oh yeah, follow me." I want to actually give value.
I love it. I love that. And yeah, I encourage everybody to check that out right now, whether you're watching on YouTube. Most folks listen on Apple, Spotify, but just go down to the notes and we'll have all that info for you to check out. So, all right. So yeah, man, I feel like we've just scratched the surface here because I know everything we talked about could be another podcast. So I do have, like, I've been collecting guests over the years that I put on my list as I got to get them back on here. So I know you and I are going to circle up and do a Dealmaker podcast later this year, but maybe later, like towards the back half of the year, I'd love to have you back on and kind of pick a few mindset nuggets that we just go deep in. And I think that'd be good. So
That would be awesome because we didn't even talk about morning routines, and that's one of my
right now,
pieces of this right thing.
yeah. So yeah, we might have a quarterly check-in with Mr. Smude on here. So that could be something we could do. So, but again, I appreciate your time. I hope you enjoy your yoga this afternoon. That is something that, like I said, I'm always mixing it up. Yoga is something I have not gotten into yet. I've tried it. I struggle with it, but I'm not writing it off. I'll say that. So,
All right, I'm now going to be messaging you about yoga.
yeah. So my midday reset for years was jujitsu. I would go do the old man lunchtime class for about 2.5 years. Every day at lunch, I'd go do that class, and that was my reset. I'd work hard in the morning. I'd go just get it all out, and then I was ready to go in the afternoon and close the day. So, yeah, that was my yoga for a couple years.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me on here. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about. This is a lot of fun.
Love it, man. I'm glad we connected, and I'm sure for folks that's listening, this won't be the last you hear of Adrian. So, all right. Thank you, Adrian. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Burning the Ships. I want to give a special thanks to our sponsor, 608B Capital, helping real estate investors secure fast, reliable funding to fuel their boldest moves. If you're ready to take your investing to the next level, visit 608bcapital.com to learn more. If you found value in today's episode, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast. Your feedback not only helps us improve, but it also helps us reach more people who are ready to burn the ships and commit fully to their goals. And don't forget to share the episode with someone who needs that extra push to take bold action. I'll leave you with this. Burning the ships isn't just about removing the option to retreat. It's about unlocking the courage to charge forward. No matter the odds, the past is behind you and the future is yours to conquer. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time on Burning the Ships.